Hi everyone, my name is Christy and welcome to my Trying a New Makeup Product Everyday series. Today I'm so excited to try out this eyeshadow palette. This is from Violet Voss and it's the Windflower fun-sized eyeshadow palette. And I was actually able to get this in Ipsy last month with my points, but you can get this at Sephora and it retails for $18. I love trying out eyeshadow palettes in general, but especially Violet Voss eyeshadow palettes. And I'm really excited about the color scheme in this one here. So here is what it looks like. I love a warm toned, neutral-ish palette, but with a lot of pinks. And that's exactly this palette. Like, these are the shades that I find myself most drawn to. So I am very excited. There are 10 colors in here and it looks like 5 mattes and 5 shimmers. It also has the mirror and I think the packaging is so cute. I love the plaid floral print. I really do think you get the essential shades in here as well, like, or at least I should say my essential shades that I just always am reaching for to create a daytime look or amp it up a little bit for more sparkly glam look. But you've got your like matte light shade here, which I'm gonna swatch, some really pretty sparkly shades, some great brown matte neutrals, which are very important. Ooh, they have a really nice velvety texture. Let's see how they swatch. Ooh, very pigmented shimmer shades. Oh, I love that that really light shade is actually like a really light pink. And these matte shades are swatching really well and pigmented. And what I also really love about these colors is that they are all very cohesive. Like, any shades that you put together I think are going to look really good together. But there's also so many different types of looks that you can create from this. So that's something I really look for in an eyeshadow palette if I'm going to be spending the money on it. And very impressed with the swatches so far. I love these colors. And here are what the swatches look like. Okay, so I'm just going to do my usual eyeshadow primer potion from Urban Decay. And I'm gonna apply that all over one of my eyelids. And the other eyelid I'll leave bare so that we can see how these eyeshadows are with and without the primer. And then I just blend this all over the lid. All right, and so now I am going to dip into the lightest matte shade here and just lightly dust this all over the lid to set that primer and prep the lid for other shades to blend on top of it. I don't feel like this is showing up too much, but I am just doing a light dusting over the lid to prep the lid. I mean, it is kind of covering up the discoloration on my lid here, so this is a fine base color. Next, I'm going to move on to the transition shade, and for that I'm just going to take the lighter of the two matte browns and start building up some contour and dimension to the eye. So dusting this from the crease all the way up to the brow bone, and this is actually a really nice transition shade. It blends out pretty well. It's not super pigmented, at least using a light amount. It's not super pigmented, and so I'm able to create that diffused transition shade. I don't know why, for some reason I feel like it's not looking super even as I'm blending it out. Let's see. Like, it's okay, but not the most kind of airbrushed, smooth blending effect that I would like to see. It's fine, but definitely not really impressing me, although it's just the transition shade. It doesn't show too much. But I do like that color, the way it creates a little depth to the eyes. So sometimes that's all I do for my eye look, is just that transition crease brown shade. And it is more of an orangey yellow brown, but still fine to wear on its own. Now picking up a smaller brush, I'm gonna pick up the darker matte brown, and I'm going to focus this right into that crease and build up the depth. For my eye shape, I always like to do a transition shade into a darker crease shade to help enhance the eye shape, create more of a crease in my eyes, since my eyes are a bit hooded. And this is giving me the effect that I like. The transition into that crease is really a good color combination. Once again, I'm not super impressed with how this is blending out. I don't find it to be super easy to blend, but it's not terrible. But still, I just feel like it's not looking as smooth as other eyeshadows do. I feel like I have to work at it a lot more to try and smooth it out and blend it out. Okay, so now I definitely feel like I need something to create that lift, depth in the outer corner. So I think I'm just gonna go in with the other matte shade in the corner here. This is more like a maroon shade. And I'm gonna put this into that outer V. So yeah, that's okay. Still not really wowing me. I mean, I feel like the formula is pretty consistent with all of these matte shades of just like not blending out super easily or even, but good pigment. This shade on the lid, you see how red it is? It looks like this shade in the pan, but I'm using this one. I don't wear red on my lids all that often. I think just because I have so much red in my skin anyways. I don't really like to add redness to my lids because I already have kind of reddish eyelids. But this is still a pretty color. It's just not something I find myself ever reaching for. So going a little out of my comfort zone here. But maybe to hopefully tone that red down a little bit, I'm gonna apply this, it's like a copper shimmery shade kind of onto the lid where I applied that red, so on top of the red. That looks pretty. It's like a fiery effect with the red matte into the copper orange shimmer on the lid there. Pretty combination. Now I feel like I should go in with a lighter shimmery shade onto the rest of the lid to pull the look together, and seriously, any of the shades would look good. And I am of course very drawn to the pink sparkle because I'm all about pink sparkly, like that's my favorite thing. But I also feel like the gold would really pop and look really good with the colors that I have going on my lid already. So let's see how that looks with the gold. Really going after that fiery color scheme. Ooh, it's such a pretty gold. It pops so much. This is fun. This is a really fun, colorful eyeshadow look. And it really is, like I said, all the colors work so well together. The shimmer formulas, I wish they were a little bit more opaque and foiled. They just look a little bit dry, I guess is how I would describe it. Like textured. Like the formulas, they're all right, but I've tried out so many eyeshadow palettes and so many amazing eyeshadow palettes that I just have very high standards. And this, I would just say, is so. Definitely not the easiest formula to use, not the most beautiful like texture effect on the lid, but it's definitely usable. So if you did get this in Ipsy or something, it's not like you would have to throw it away because it's awful. Like it's usable, but it's definitely not my favorite. Like the more I'm looking at the gold on my lid, it just looks so crumbly. But I do really like all the colors going on my lid. And then I like to take a shimmery shade onto the lower lash line. So I'm gonna go in with the light brown shimmer here and blend this along. And this is pretty. I always like to wear like a brown shimmer like that on the lash line. I feel like you can't go wrong with this. And so here's my finished eyeshadow look. I really am loving the colors. And I used a lot of shades in here. I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the 10 shades in this eyeshadow look. So I think I was able to get a good feel of how this palette is, the quality. And well, this is the eye with the primer. This is the eye without the primer. Pigment wise, they look the same. Creasing, pretty much the same. The eye with the primer is just the slightest bit smoother, but still both eyes, like if you get really close to notice, which is what I'm doing right here, it's just a little inconsistent in the shading, I guess I would say, and really not loving the texture of the gold. It's just not looking foiled. And I love a smooth foiled look to a metallic. And this is just like, it's not glittery. It's just kind of like a dull, crumbly metallic. It's a really pretty shade of gold, but I would have liked a different finish. So in the end, I would say I am glad I got this in Ipsy for my points, because I would not recommend spending $18 on it. To me, that's expensive. If I'm paying $18 for an eyeshadow palette, I expect more than what this did for me. But now I know. I was so excited when I saw this palette, looking at the color story, and the colors are good. That's my favorite part about it, is the colors. But definitely let me know your thoughts on it in the comments down below if you've tried out the Voss Windflower palette, and I'd love to hear what kinds of looks you create with it. And thank you so much for watching my video today. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel so you can see the makeup that I try every day, and I will see you tomorrow in my next video.